And here we see the history of Serra Caprila, from 1800. With images of the time and the country transformation in subsequent political periods. The nice thing is that there can be an involvement of the whole population. There may be those who live abroad who have recognized themselves and sent clarifications regarding certain family information and on the Aranga family of the town. Some on the name of the town hall building. And on all the events of the country itself. We have already seen, but let's review the story of the clock tower story. That was designed, but it has been changed again. And there was also a participation. Not just citizens but also of those who are resident in other Italian cities. Or even abroad, and there was real-time communication. All this implies, however, at least the existence of more than one person who are interested in the site as a cultural fact and be led to check and update the site. It can't be paid work, otherwise we fall back to the classic sites of the municipalities that we see in large quantities on the net, with wrong information most of the time, and far from updated. There is no need to cite some examples, because there would be infinite to show. You notice a speech by mercenaries. That is, of people who work if they get paid. And this cannot bring a cultural contribution. Which is little but safe, so it would be about involving pro loco school, but always non-profit institutions. Where who works, he works because he considers it appropriate to work. Whether he is paid or not must be secondary. You cannot entrust a website to those who do it only for remuneration, or as a function of what it receives as payment. It's a huge topic. However, the bottom line is that we have to learn about territory in which we live, and we can only do this by taking information, trying to communicate them, comparing ourselves with others who study the same territory in which we live. A great photographer called the camera the great liar. In fact, all the lies that the camera gives us, it does it either by overexposing or underexposing the frames. And, in most cases, with the use of perspective deformation. Perhaps everyone is familiar with classic photography of the person holding the Tower of Pisa. It is obviously a particular shot with a wide angle, where the person is close to the goal, in the foreground. And in the background is the Tower of Pisa. In perspective, it seems that they are both on the same plane. In this particular case, the lie is too big. And it is clear that it does not deceive those who see it. But on the other hand, it bothers. Because it's a very, very simple fact. In all the photographs, where now we got used to realize the human being is always used as a reference element, even in the case of the Tower of Pisa, it was the hand of the person to make us think that the person is close. Prospective restitutions are made in substance. But in special cases like this, we see an absurd photo, and this is exactly what bothers us. Normally, when we see a photograph, we feel the need to be able to take the measurements of the objects we see. While in reality, with two-dimensional images, we always hope to be able to use the ruler, which allows us to measure the images in scale. On the web, we lack this measuring instrument. Let's say that the image is useless. In our particular case, we will use the stereofoot program, both for two-dimensional images, where, as already mentioned, a proportion between the measured and the calibration measurements is sufficient, both for three-dimensional images. Using real photogrammetry, undoubtedly the ideal would be the free eye vision of the two images. But unfortunately, this is not possible, because it's not that simple. If you don't start from elementary school to get kids used to this type of vision, with good eye gymnastics that wouldn't hurt at all. Or the ideal would be the virtual helmet, which is now available to everyone. Thanks to video games, then we saw with that the program provides us is the possibility. Red-green glasses, anaglyphic glasses. Both the vision with crossed visual axes, and with the stereoscope base 24 centimeters. So we can see both frames. This is very useful for reverse photogrammetry. But what is important, in my opinion, is the ability to download frames and use a modeling program to practice in the study of the object, as in the case of monuments. Study the image, the size of the monument, in order to take measurements, just as we prefer to be able to take it apart. But on this subject we will return again, starting with the HTML page. However, I believe that a general picture has been given on what should be the essential knowledge to follow a major architectural course. Because without the ability to read and write, it would be a bit like coping, reading and writing a novel without knowing grammar, nor without the ability to reading by understanding and writing by communicating.